In the final episode of the first season, Smriti Ravindra, author of The Woman Who Climbed Trees, shared, quote, "The process is all yours, so you do what you have to do. That's where the fun is." End quote. How'd You Create That is all about the process of creating, and we're back with the second season continuing the conversation around the creative process. I'm your host, Alfa. Thank you for tuning in. Before How'd You Create That began, I started 2 podcasts and gave up on both of them. Back then, I had not imagined I would start another podcast, and that too about conversations with creatives. But here we are. I like to think the 2 previous failed podcasts were part of the process, something I could only understand backwards. In Smriti Ravindra's words, I did what I had to, and that somehow led me here. Even now, the process is where the soul is. In recording of each episode, in meeting new people and talking to them, and in putting heart and head together to make this happen, with support from communities and individuals. I've been thinking a lot about creative processes and what's in them. And what I've realized is that creative processes can be strange, weird, funny, inspiring, and painful. There is no one exact word to describe it. It can be messy, it can be organized, it can be confusing. It can look a variety of things. Like Smriti Ravindra would say, the process is all yours. It can look different for each of us and also have commonalities and meeting points. The only way to figure out where the process leads is to go with it, which isn't always easy. And that is why having conversations about the creative process, especially with creatives in the local scene, can be helpful. And that is why this podcast exists. In the second season, we continue the conversation around how creatives work, the stories behind their craft, their techniques, and some tips and tricks that you can try and see if they work for you. We continue the conversation that creating art takes practice and patience, that we do not sit down at our tables and the ideas come floating in. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. We continue the conversation on the method and the magic it can create. I hope something sparks in you when you hear these creatives talk about their practice and process. I hope it reminds you that you can create something of your own, be it a doodle, a food recipe, or a new way to look at the world. How'd You Create That is supported by the Open Institute for Social Science. We have a small team that makes these episodes possible. See you soon as we continue the conversation in the second season.